nervous again. Oh, pretty crazy. You good, George? Hey, guess what? Grandpa Jordy's birthday today. 51. Jordan, you were only 30 when you wrote this next song.
That is nuts.
Yeah. Are you ready out there or fucking what?
You are listening to Unscripted Moments, a podcast about Propagandhi. Welcome to Back to the Motor League Part 3. Just as a quick reminder, Keith and I covered Back to the Motor League on episode 9 in July of 2020 with John Darnielle from the Mountain Goats, and I covered it again more in August of 2022 with Adam Russell from Story of the Year. Both of those conversations are very special to me because John Darnielle was on our early list of all-time goal guests, and we were amazed we got to talk to him so early on in the podcast. And I'm still grateful to John for saying yes to that early invitation before we'd even done 10 episodes. And then the episode with Adam was super special because we recorded live in his basement in St. Louis when I was home visiting my family. Then, just a few weeks later, after Adam and I recorded, I got to hang out with him again here in Buffalo, New York, on a stop for Story of the Year's first tour in several years. So I love our other Back to the Motor League episodes, and if you haven't heard them, maybe go check those out sometime. So this one is special because we've got a great cover and a very fun and lively conversation with Chris Navarrete from the band Fine Dining. Chris and his friends get together once in a while to make covers for a very nicely produced YouTube video series. They've done The Vandals, Good Riddance, and lately many of you saw their Back to the Motor League cover where they used an 80s metal theme for a great performance. It's truly wonderful, and you're going to hear it in just a second. Chris was a great conversation partner and told me all about his love of Propagandhi, how they inspire him as a musician and vocalist, and what it was like making this cover for such an iconic song. So we're going to kick off the episode with the cover, and then we're going to get into the conversation with Chris Navarrete. Enjoy.
I like to party fucking hard. I like my rock and roll the same. Don't give a fuck if I burn out. Don't give a fuck if I fade away. Back to the Motor League with me. Before I'm forced to face the wrath of a well-hit by in public who live vicariously through. Tortured all his college work for punching macho problem. Back to the Motor League I go. One side that you're unlucky.
checkouts, front checkouts, stock personnel.
Chris Navarrete, welcome to Unscripted Moments, a podcast about Propagandhi.
Thanks for having me.
It's a delight to have you here, Chris. I'm wondering if you can just spend a moment and introduce yourself to the listeners out there, however you see fit.
My name's Chris. Been playing in bands for a little over 20 years. And my recent band that I have taken seriously, I guess, is Fine Dining.
Mm-hmm.
And sure that gets lost in translation. A lot of people think we're just the band or that we're not even a band, that it's Fine Dining at the show. So I have that cursed name, but I think it's funny. I think it's a cool name. So Fine Dining, find us on social media, Fine Dining Punk Rock, just so it's not end up at some lobster and steak restaurant.
Are you the singer in that band?
Yes, I'm the singer and lyricist, and and then with my cover project that you found me on, I just it's called Broke Singer Chris is my channel, but the first program I started is Broke Ass Incorporated, and that's just always been my name. As a singer, I never made any money off of this, so that's always been kind of my moniker. And just through the pandemic, just started seeing some cool covers, and I was like, hey, I want to be a part of this, and didn't really know how far I would take it. Still don't really know how far I'll take it, but I'm having a good time doing it.
I definitely want to know more about this YouTube channel. So everybody out there listening will have already heard your cover of Back to the Motor League that led into this conversation. So everybody already knows what you did in audio form, but your YouTube channel is a lot more than just, people playing the song as cameras in their home studios or their living rooms or whatever. These videos go above and beyond that. And I'm wondering if you can tell me kind of about the approach that you and the people who make the videos with you, your pals, how you all approach making these videos, because you go on location and stuff like that. It's really cool. So tell me a little bit more about the approach to these videos.
Yeah, at first I think it was everyone did the split screen thing, and your eyes get kind of bored. You're just kind of you're trying to look at everybody and seeing what they're doing, and I guess maybe it makes you watch it a couple more times, so that might be cool. But I think at first I was just trying to meet somebody who knew how to edit. And so when I first started out, I met this awesome dude named Clement in France. Figured out, he was like, okay, this guy's a Pennywise fan. That's one of the songs I wanted to cover right off the bat. And he kind of took the reins as far as editing and mixing. And so I was like, okay, cool. So I was kind of, at the mercy of him, no pun intended. Mercy. But it was just it was whatever, this guy, he's cool. And I would talk to him, and it was just ridiculous trying to understand. And I love accents. I think it's the coolest thing ever. So I find myself talking like him, and I'm like, how do you say we're going to do like this? It's great. And I think eventually it became so much work that he was having a child, I have a kid, and I was like, okay, we need more people involved in this. And if I'm going to take it further, basically, I had to get some people involved. And my buddy, Ron McIntyre, he runs Felony Records. He was in my wedding. I was in his wedding. Been friends forever, at least 20 years. And he's always been into the editing thing. So once he kind of saw that I was taking it seriously, during the pandemic, we hadn't seen each other, even though we're only, 7 miles away. But he was like, okay, he's starting to take it a little seriously. I'm starting to dig some of his covers. So he hit me up, and he kind of jumped in. And at first I think he was very, hey, let's see what these guys are going to send me. And then right away, I think he was like, oh, we're going to have to step this up. So yeah, I definitely credit him for bringing more to the table as far as what you see. And then, the music thing, I think is kind of, I'd say, 85% what I want to do, but I'm also very open. Sometimes the covers are not what I planned it to be, or the song that I chose. Sometimes I'll send to people the whole list, and I say, these are the songs and bands, and they're like, you know what, I'm not feeling any of those. I'm like, crap. Yeah. So it does happen. And then they send me a couple things, and I'm like, you know what, never even gave that band a chance. Let me check it out, and turns out, it was awesome. So it's kind of cool, but definitely I credit Ron for starting the process of making things look better to the eye visually. And then I kind of just my whole goal from the beginning was, I'm a singer. What am I doing here? I want to get better. Let's get in the studio once every 2-3 weeks and let's push myself. Let's challenge myself. And so when it's time to do the Fine Dining full-length album, which we have just finished, I will feel so comfortable. And
Right.
I'll know what I want to do. I'll know how to layer my voice or harmonize or whatever, I just will be comfortable and I'll be up for anything. And that's exactly what happened when we got in the studio. I was fired up. I knocked out 3 songs a day. And, it was just like, all right, let's double this, let's double that. Nothing was, I'm not going to say there weren't challenges, but I definitely was up to the task and pretty well rehearsed and ready. So for that, the audio was my main goal, was like, let's just carve a new, part of the throat out and get better. Because, recording is way different than live. And I think any singer will tell you it's a big wake up call,
Man, that is such an amazing approach to going into the studio, to have this project that you're just purely doing for fun leading up to it, because the studio for a band with original compositions can be such a stressful and daunting experience that to, pursue something that's like just based purely in joy, like doing like Good Riddance and Propagandhi covers. I mean, that's such an awesome warm up. And it also helps you learn new things about how your voice works by trying to do what these other vocalists who are, been doing this for a long, long time have done in the past. So, I mean, that's a really cool strategy for getting yourself psyched up for the studio. I really love that.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was a challenge to, I actually did where it wasn't my channel and I jumped on theirs and I did a Chad Price all cover.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is one of my favorites, this is going to be, and they like to do things more to the T, where I like to actually add more and like just put my own interpretation on it, which is great, but I wanted to do what they wanted to do. So I really wanted to try my best Chad Price impersonation, that's a task right there,
Amazing.
So, it was just like, basically I just wanted to take on all tasks and say, you know what, I'm open. And that's how I started a little stoner metal project on the side with my buddy Tim that I've known forever. It's called King Need. And everything's drop A, drop B.
Nice.
I'm sitting there sounding like a bear, singing on this stuff. And I'm like, okay. And so just being open to those things, I'm like, okay, so tunings, let's find my sweet spot, So like the first thing I do when I talk to people is like, are you open to any kind of tunings? Are you down to, basically drop it? I'm never going to go up, but always different speeds, always different, if the raw track is the original's not to a click, it's going to change when you put it to a click, and you're going to add your own interpretation naturally. You have to fill the space.
I love it.
So just all that was like, it's sometimes you're trying to talk to people and it's like, how do you get through to them through an email? It's like, who is this guy? Why is he? I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Why is this person with a Propagandhi podcast Instagram DMing me out of nowhere, asking me to be on this song by song podcast? You know what I mean? It's like really funny how those connections get made.
It was cool because I literally saw the repost by Propagandhi.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, like they reposted it. Like I had to look at it like 3 times. I'm like,
yeah.
Did they really do that?
It's such a thrill when Todd reposts that stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, then I got your DM and I'm like, I was like, wow, this one hit, because sometimes you're like, damn, deaf ears. No one gave a crap. I think one of our Vandals covers, which I thought was a fun time, no one saw it.
Did you do Let the Bad Times Roll? Is that what you did?
Yes.
Dude, I watched that one too. That was so great.
And I was just thinking, and I was just like, wow, no one saw it, but it is a lot about all the bands getting together and sharing it, which is the fun in it. Like, here's my hard work, everybody, look what we all did together.
Yeah, well, and I mean, if you keep those songs like in the modern social media atmosphere, you never know who is going to hear it for the first time and find out about that band and go back and discover a lifetime's worth of music,
Yeah, and that was my other formula. Like, there's other people doing things, but my formula was always grab the nostalgia song, maybe not the number one hit, maybe a hidden gem, and then not destroy the song, but add a little something to it. Get people going, oh, I remember that song from the show soundtrack, like surfing, like that was my jam, and he knew that one, that's what I want. I don't want like, oh, he he did the number one track and he didn't do anything to it. He just played along, and
Yeah.
that's not what I wanted to do. My whole objective was to add something cool, whether even if it's just a scream that wasn't there before, you know.
Dude, I got to ask, I loved your Fertile Fields Good Riddance cover. That is hands down my favorite Good Riddance song ever, and it's not even close. And my friend Jared from Counterpunch is the bass player on that. And, you know, I'm wondering about that cover a little bit as well, because I love that song so much, but also because I'm buddies with Jared. But like, how do you get these people involved in this project? Like, how do you like, do you have a list of people that you want to work with that you're like reaching out to for each different cover? Like, how do these folks get involved?
Sometimes I'll create a list, like all the friends I played with, and then like a secret wish list of like, you know, my favorite artists. Like, they're probably not going to give me the time of day, but I'll put it on my secret wish list and I'll send them something and they'll ignore it. But every once in a while, you know, Little Joe comes to me and says, I'll totally do it, you know? And
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Little Joe.
Amazing.
Yeah. And, you know, and there's people that ignore it, but I get it. You know, people have, maybe they don't even see it. I don't even know who runs their Instagrams, you know what I mean?
Right.
But with how I found the drummer was, I loved his bigwig cover that he did with Steve Rawls at Belvedere. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
that's killer. And that's actually how I found Josh, who's the guitar player. We're doing a Gorilla Biscuits cover coming up. And so it was cool. I kind of found this almost little Canadian scene. Like, I was like, okay, I got Dustin, this guy rips on drums, you know, and he introduced me to Paul, the bass player from Trigger Happy. And then I happened to see the Mikey and His Youth cover of now I'm gonna forget it, but the Almighty Trigger Happy singer was in that, and I'm like, okay, Almighty Trigger Happy, okay, and Brutal Youth, okay. So I just kind of like, it was kind of like, wow, I feel like I have a little bit of a friend base now if I ever go out there, you know. But yeah, actually Dustin did those drums. It's kind of sad to say, about a year ago.
Wow.
Sometimes, oh my God, 1 month, bam, 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 everyone's done. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then sometimes it's hey, you remember me? You know, you're gonna do those drums.
Right.
But to his credit, he actually did the drums pretty quickly. We had a bass player who, I don't know, I'm not gonna mention his name, but he actually came into some mental issues and he had to, you know, walk away from it. But it was like 6 months in. I'm crazy. Like, I need to find somebody. And sure enough, I forgot how, because I didn't know Jared yet. I just knew Counterpunch.
Yeah.
And I briefly, you know, probably commented on things, but I think Felony Ron put me in touch with him. I can't remember. But just like we're talking now, he got me on the line and we just chatted and we were all aboard, and he probably knocked it out within a week. And I'm like,
love it.
It's been on this track for a year and he knocks the bass out in a week.
Well, I know he's friends with some of the guys in Good Riddance too. It's one of his, I think that they've like played a bunch of shows together. So it's pretty cool that he's on that.
He lives near the town that they practice in, Santa Cruz.
Oh yeah. And the background scenery of Jared's video footage on your video is awesome too, because he's like playing with the ocean in the background and stuff. I loved it.
Which is the other cool part, when someone, you know, I'm not going to talk crap about anyone who's joined me, but sometimes time's an issue. I'm just going to give you me in my room, and that's fine. But Jared was like, hey, I'm totally down to go the extra mile. I'm like, yes, it's going to look so much better, you know?
Amazing.
And sure enough, you see it and it looks so much better. The drummers, it's tough. They're not going to go outside with a drum kit, you know?
Right.
But, you know, if you can get the bass player, guitar player to just go outside, anything is better than just in your room. So I was stoked he went the extra mile and killed it.
Love it. Well, Chris, let's talk about Propagandhi for a while. How did you get into the band originally? Do you have like a origin story that you can remember about becoming a fan?
I think like everybody else, I definitely got a hold of how to clean everything. But if I'm being honest, it was definitely way late in the game. I'm a very late, but now huge fan.
Yeah.
But it took me a while. And then I will say that, you know, it's an unfair judge to show someone the first album and say, here's Propagandhi. What do you think?
Right.
Because they weren't there yet, but it's still great. It's just not what I want to listen to from them when I go down the list. You
and I are on the same page there, 100%.
Yeah. And I obviously what struck a chord with me was their, you know, F Religion song. I was like, holy crap, like these guys got some balls.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I thought. And it's still the first thing I think is these guys got balls. And that's what I guess that's what tickles my algorithm. I'm like, who are these guys? It's not how heavy you could play, it's just the conviction. And so from there I kind of just left it as okay, that was a cool song, whatever. And then somehow I got on Potemkin City Limits, and I was like, whoa, this is a different band. What happened? And all of a sudden, just goosebump, okay, let's check this out, and then I think by the time I got into it, it's sad to say, but I think that's when Victory Lap was coming out. So I was already way behind. Victory Lap comes out, and I'm like, oh yeah,
man,
this is it,
Yeah.
So good. I don't know if I will say it's the best, but it's so close, and they're all, but it made me go back to Supporting Cast, and I was like, okay, Supporting Cast might be my favorite, but it was just to say that you have those two albums at all is like a career,
Yeah.
And then I will say is those are the three I focused on. And when the talk of doing this cover came up, I actually wasn't that familiar with Today's Empires.
Interesting. Nice. I like this.
And that's the change, that's where they changed, right?
Yeah, it is.
So I'm being honest. Most guys will just say, "Oh yeah, I followed them from the beginning." And I know.
No, I love it, man. Be honest.
I'm like, I'm very guilty of. I still have an iPod. I will still go to my favorite albums and not give a lot of new bands a chance, or not give sometimes new albums a chance. And I'm trying to be more open. And this whole cover project has opened me up to that. Like, oh, you're not going to do so-and-so band. I'm like, well, I just haven't thought about it yet. And then I'll that album, I'm like, where the hell have I been? Like, this album's great. And that's how Today's Empires was. This album is really good. And this is kind of where it's changed. And so I just listened to that album front to back for a couple of weeks. And my buddy, the guitar player who's has the English accent in the video.
Yeah.
He's the one that wanted to do Back to the Motor League. And so basically after listening to him front to back for 2 weeks, I always try to say, well, what about this song? What about that song? I was like, no, that's the song. You're right. Let's do that song.
Nice. There's a really interesting tweet that I remember. Brendan Kelly from the Lawrence Arms tweeted, I guess it's probably been 10 years, but he wrote something along the lines of, there are two types of punk rock songwriters, those who wrote Back to the Motor League and those who didn't.
Wow.
And, this song is like an exceptional song. I'm wondering what your reaction to that tweet is. Like, there are those two types of punk rock songwriters, those who wrote Back to the Motor League and those who didn't. I'm wondering your thoughts on that.
I definitely agree with that statement. Yeah, I think the first note I heard was like, obviously you hear the first lyric and you're just like, oh, this is a satire. You know what I mean? Like, that's the first thing I thought was like, and it's funny because, you hear the lyrics and that's one of those songs where like, I was forced to look it up and be like, what is everything? Like, you hear some of it, but what is everything? And you start to look at these people talking about it and they're like, oh, what dumb lyrics. I like to party hard, and I'm like,
yeah,
you literally read the first two lines and you walked away. This song is about you. Like,
yeah.
So I just thought it was hilarious. But I thought satire immediately. But yeah, I started looking it up and, credit to them, a song that made me want to look up the lyrics, because this day and age, that doesn't happen a lot with me. Maybe when I was 13, opening up CD booklets, I would do that. But now, I got a kid, I got work, I don't have time for this. I got 3 songs on my commute, so I got to have 3 bangers, and you better believe Back to the Motor League's one of them,
Nice.
But I went in there and I checked it out, and I'm sure there's still stuff I don't understand. But one of the things that resonates with me is the line, don't give a F if I burn out, don't give a F if I fade away. To me, even though I know he's being, I still think he kind of actually, that's the one line that he still believes himself. You know what I mean? Because I know when I'm up there, I'm going to give it my 100%. I'm a front man. I want to go hard, you know, but as soon as I'm done, back to the regular league, but I feel like he believes that he doesn't really care if he burns out or fades away. Like that's his stamp on this song. It's just like, take it. I don't care what you think. And if I fade and no one ever cares about Propagandhi again, I don't care. And that's what slapped me in the face, was like, man, this guy's got balls and he doesn't care what anybody thinks.
Man, I love honing in on that one particular lyric as being like a moment of like, this is 100% me, and there's no like satire or joke about it or poking fun. Like this is like the line in the song where I'm like being completely real. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and like I said, he may not believe that, but at least when I hear it, I do, because I feel like if you're a singer or a front man, you really want to bring it, or else what are we doing here? I feel like you're up there and of course you want the crowd, but like, you're there for selfish reasons as well, to get it all out of your system. I always say to let the demon out so I can be happy. I want to get that bug out of my system. And, that I think that's part of it when you're up there, is you wouldn't do it if you didn't get pleasure out of giving it to the crowd,
Mm-hmm. So whenever you were prepping for making this song, like doing it in the studio, like tell me a little bit about like what you had to do to get these vocal takes and like, get it all lined up and, nicely harmonized. And you did a bunch of, I presume you did several takes. Can you tell me a little bit about the experience of doing the actual performance for you?
So Scott from 10 Foot Pole, he did ask me if he wanted to tune down. And I felt like I didn't need to. Looking back on it, maybe it could have helped me a little bit, because it was a challenge. This is not an easy song to sing. Though the notes can be higher, it was all about just, I call it mush mouth, like trying to pronounce these lyrics and give it the way he gives it.
Yeah.
And in the right speed, because every singer attacks a song differently. And that's what's so cool about this project, is I've learned, okay, this singer likes to, be on beat. This singer likes to be behind the beat. This singer I don't know how he did this part, but I'm going to try. And, as a guitar player singer, I'm sure this makes more sense to him. But just trying to get every lyric and the pronunciation down was definitely the hardest part.
Nice. Does anything really kind of stand out to you? Because like, how many layers did you do? Because you have some parts that are, really intense and screamy and throaty, and then some parts that are extremely beautiful and harmonized. Like what are we listening to here if we were to look at this like on the audio editing software and the recording?
Well, I think the only thing, honestly, I didn't double was the beginning. I really wanted to scream hard in that beginning. I felt like, if this is me and this is my interpretation, I'm gonna lay it all out on that first line. And I like to put it hard, know what I mean? And that's where that's the only like probably single, like no layered at all. That's just me raw in the cut. And as soon as Back to the Motor League with Me comes in, that's where you hear the double. And that's where I was like, ooh, I'm gonna need that double. Like this is, I got to come in and it's got to be melodic and pretty and good. And, that one took me a few takes. That first line, I think I nailed it. I was like, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't even wait for the guy next to me to say, like, you want to hear that back? I was like, nope, that's the line that I envisioned me doing, and it's done. Everything else, all right, let me put my hard hat on and let's jump in here. But the guy doing, I have 3 or 4 guys that I like to, that was the other thing. I want to engineer with different people and hear their thoughts and, have my own idea, but also be a little bit open and also, know when to shut things down. But I just remember him hearing me and him just laughing in between the takes, like, this guy's talking shit about everybody. This is awesome. The engineer was like, he's realizing the lyrics too. And he's like, wow, I never heard of this band. This is great.
Amazing. Did everybody record all their stuff like on their own, like home rigs and stuff? Like, cause getting good takes is, studios is expensive and costly. And I'm wondering what that was like for everybody.
I think the people that will continue to join me, along this ride is the people that can record on their own and do it inexpensively. The drummer for sure, Aaron actually, this is the first one he edited and had the idea for the whole video. But Aaron knows how to record his drums, and he's actually really good friends with Scott from 10 Foot Pole. And so Scott, being now his own engineer himself, has shown Aaron a few things. I think they've kind of worked together. So, they're right at home with each other. And I think Scott could clean up whatever he needed to clean up if he had to. I don't even know if he had to. But yeah, Scott has a home rig, so he did his own guitar. And I believe Dave recorded himself too. So in this case, I think everyone, Loic, he did it all at home. So in this case, everyone did everything at home except for me. I think as a singer, it's just tough to hit pause and start over and just work in the computer, work in the reins while you're trying to be in the moment and sing.
Yeah,
I'd rather just pay my friends to do it well, especially a song like this. Maybe if it was a one taker where I'm just going to scream my head off. Maybe I don't need the best engineer. Maybe I just need someone to hit play and let me go. But for this, I really, want to make sure that the performance was as good as I could do in my own, what I'm capable of, and hear what he wanted to say. So, yeah.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit about the concept for the video. You mentioned that there was a story sort of and an idea for the video. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I mean, Felony Ron usually does most of the concepts, or maybe I had an idea and we ran with it, but mainly it's him. And then so Aaron, who's done drums for me on another cover before, he was like, "Hey, I really want to edit one," and I was like, "Well, okay, let's do it." And I don't know how he came up with the initial idea. He was just like, "Hey, what do you think about like, kind of an '80s metal theme?" And that's all I really knew, I think, going into it. And I was like, sure, why not? And then he came to me with this idea of like a tryout. And I think we definitely had to I needed help understanding a little bit more, but he was like, yeah, we're going to like try out for this band. And we're going to act like this band existed 20 years ago. And here we are. And we want to like remake the band with new members trying out for it. So and then it was just like an hour conversation of us just riffing and like coming up with these dumb ideas that a lot of them didn't work.
Yeah. I love it, man.
My first thing was I saw it in the hills of Hollywood, Johnny Diamond. I was like, that's me, and it's kind of a tip of your cap to Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Agora Hills and the Valley. But yeah, and I think Aaron was just like, we got to have an English accent in there. And once I knew Loic was in, I was like, well, he is French, so he's not going to have to fake it.
Yeah.
He just might have to, accentuate a little more than normal.
Amazing.
I think we both came up with a couple names. I had the Jean-Claude Van Ram.
Gunk.
And I think Dave was like, how about Pony Boy? And I was like, it needs something, it's got to have something. I was like, how about Rose? Pony Boy Rose.
Nice.
Like, boom, and then, like I said, every guy came up with their own name, but we all kind of collaborated, which was the funnest part of this. Sometimes it's all just, hey, I did it, here it is. And that's fine. I'm all for it. But every once in a while, it's really cool to sit down and really feel like everyone put in their stamp,
Right. Nice. Speaking of Propagandhi, have you ever seen them live before? I know you said you're sort of a newish fan. Have you been able to see the band live at all?
Here comes the womp womp. Yeah,
oh, bummer, man.
Seen them live. I have not. I've watched a lot of footage of them, and worked out and ran and cleaned the house to a lot of Propagandhi, but I have not. It's on my list, which is sad to say that they did come through recently on a makeup tour, I think. Because I think someone got COVID and they came through. But having a 6-year-old and for me, it's like if I play once a month, I feel guilty asking to go out too.
Sure.
But my thing is always like, hey, if I can play the show, perfect.
Yep, exactly. Make a little bit of money, cover your costs.
Yeah, I mean, the money is not even important these days. It's really just playing with your heroes. So definitely on my hero list to play with Propagandhi would definitely be towards the top. And yeah, that's really, I think, why I joined a band was to, definitely to, make a record. But you want to play with your heroes, the people that inspired you. You want to play with them.
Amazing. Well, Chris, I am just super delighted to have had the chance to chat with you about this fabulous Back to the Motor League cover. What an amazing and iconic song. One of the definitive songs for this band. I think that everybody out there listening would agree for sure. Do you want to promote any links or places where people can find you if they want to continue to follow you and check out your bands and check out your future cover projects?
Yeah, my original band is Fine Dining. Like I said, maybe just add punk rock to it so it doesn't come off as a restaurant or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then the channel is Broke Singer Chris, where you'll find Fine Dining and any side projects, and then this project that we're talking about, Broke Ass Incorporated. And that's where you'll find all my covers that I do. Easy to get a hold of if you want to join. But yeah, always just my goal right now is to do my favorite, or at least best cover that I can come up with for each band. So I'm not repeating any bands at the moment, and just having fun picking a great song to do.
Well, a lot of folks out there who listen to this podcast are also extremely proficient musicians. So if out there you're listening and you want to get involved with Chris, go and find him. Chris, thank you so much for joining me. I've had a real blast.
Awesome. And yeah, hope everyone likes the cover when they hear it on your end.
But what have we here? 15 years later, it still reeks of swill and chicken formus with their fists in the air. Like father, like son, rebels bloated on corn M&Ms and biscuits. Lord, hear my prayer. Take back my anti-grandma's crew and my fair weather politics. Blow dry, I don't have any hair. And stick me on a 10 speed. Back to the Motor League. Back to the Motor League. Life is just a popularity contest of accessibility to perform within a framework of obedience. Just at the candy-coated Joy-Cam rock been selling shoes for venture capitalists, silencing competing messages, rounding off the jagged edges. Today is a good day to die.